Next week, Canadian parliamentarians will join with their colleagues from Britain, Ireland, Australia, Argentina, and Brazil in renewing their call for Mark Zuckerberg to appear before them to answer questions about security breaches at Facebook. The committees first looked at the issue last spring in the wake of the Cambridge Analytica scandal, which saw at least 620,000 Canadians' personal information improperly shared with third parties. Joining me in the studio is the chair of the Commons Committee on Information, Privacy and Ethics, Bob Zimmer. Bob Zimmer, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, you are off to London to this international meeting, but I want to ask, first of all, Mark Zuckerberg, this is not the first time you have requested that he appear before your committee. You already put in a request in the spring.
Yeah.
He didn't appear. You've just put in a request and he's also turned it down.
Right.
So why the continual, because you did hear from officials of Facebook, why did you renew your request of him?
Yeah, we think it starts right at the top, and he's even admitted that it's his company and really decisions need to be made and taken at the top. So we think he needs to answer for some of the concerns that we have for Canadians' privacy, and it really goes, we have 393 million people now that we represent with this International Grand Committee. Okay. And we're really seeking just a response that he needs to do better. And you know, he has had enough time to do a CNN interview. I just was sitting in my hotel room Tuesday night and saw this, and yet he's still seeming to be too busy to appear before a committee. So that's problematic.
You and your British counterpart, both of the head of the British committee,
Damien Collins.
Damien Collins, both of you sent letters to Zuckerberg. What was his reason for saying that he wouldn't be available to committees?
He just said he wasn't available.
Too busy.
Yeah, that's essentially it. So he left open to maybe it's a different location or maybe it's another time. He didn't say specifically like this day I'm actually busy, but so we gave him some options. We said you can come by teleconference, and he still has declined. So
what is it you want to hear from him? Because as I mentioned, in the spring you did hear from a senior official from Facebook. You have since produced an interim report from your committee about some of the issues about privacy breaches. What is it that you want to hear from him now?
Yeah, I think there's a big concern across really the globe about the weaponization of Facebook and using it as a political weapon and as a real weapon where armies gather their soldiers on the platform. So there's a lot of questions that he needs to answer for. He made promises back when he appeared in front of Congress that he was going to do better and Facebook was going to essentially be fixed, just trust us, give us some time kind of thing. Yeah. Well, he's had some time, and we've since seen the New York Times article, the delay, deny, and deflect.
Yeah, this is a big investigative report that just came out in the New York Times.
Yes. So when you see it, seemingly the intent is really to do all this, not really to give us good answers and not really even to do substantive things to fix Facebook. We think he needs to answer for that.
He said, I mean, before the congressional hearings, one of their commitments was that they were shutting off the biggest problem, that was selling or making available to third parties people's personal information.
Right.
They say it's been shut down. Are there still remaining concerns? What are your concerns?
Absolutely. So Cambridge Analytica is the one that we all know. Yeah. That was the issue that really got it to the forefront. But even Cambridge Analytica, under the guise, it was ran under the guise, it actually bought an ad. And ISIS, I believe, bought an ad. And these are supposed to be two groups that are banned from the platform, are yet still allowed to run these ads. And it was two news organizations that discovered this. So there's still huge holes in the platform. It's not catching these things. And I think what Canadians are really concerned about our democracy. When this can be weaponized, and I use the example of Bob Zimmer, the MP, who happens to be a pro-resource MP, can be targeted by a third-party actor in another country, Russia, US, or China, can run ads against me in my next campaign in 2019 and take me out. And the ad can look completely like somebody just from Prince George or Fort St. John, but bought and paid for by the Americans or the Russians. So and that's a big concern.
So it's security concerns in terms of screening who gets access and what's on it. What about, what do you hope to achieve in London? I mean, you've got all these countries coming together, all of whom have had a no from Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah. What are you hoping to achieve?
I think what we're hoping to do is get, there's really two things. We really do hope that Mark makes the decision to come and to hear some answers to our questions. Okay. But there's also, we're looking at crafting some policies that are really global. You know, we all are independent countries for sure, but we all work together so much in the marketplace and just as democracies. So we really want to come forward with some really good policies to really regulate big platforms like Google, Facebook, Twitter, and all those. Give them some good rules to follow because they're frankly not doing it themselves. Yeah,
and you're not finished with this. Your committee continues hearings. You're hearing. I've been watching the schedule. You've been doing a lot of hearings with security specialists.
We're just coming up to the end of it now. We're actually going to provide a report We had some recommendations we went through yesterday, but we're looking at even more of a fulsome study of Facebook and Google into the future, so we'll see where that goes.
Okay, so it's you, it's Liberal Nathaniel
Erskine-Smith and Charlie Angus.
NDP or Charlie Angus,
Yeah.
all three of you are off to London. Well, have an interesting summit.
I'll say too that we really work well together, and not many committees can do that, but we all come at this with a common focus of concerns for Canadians, for our democracy and our privacy and security.
Okay, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.